Welcome back to another preview episode of Bandit Land Boulevard. Trevor Howard, Tony LaMonica, aka Boxhead 98 TL, previewing we're already in what, week 19? Week
Yes,
19
sir.
preview between the Buffalo Bandits and one of their arch nemesis in the Colorado Mammoth. The script has been flipping between these two teams. The Bandits have taken 3 out of the last 4 matchups against the Mammoth. The narrative used to be what, Tony? What was the narrative whenever the Bandits were playing the Mammoth? What was that narrative we always nonstop heard?
Stay out of the box.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's one of them because they're going to try to bait you. But the one I was thinking of was the Bandits can beat any other team except the Mammoth.
The mammoth.
But
Yep.
including postseason and including regular season, the Bandits have won 3 out of their last 4 meetings against the Mammoth. But one
hmm
of those, we haven't won. Yeah, the one loss in that category was in Denver, a building that seems to be the house of horrors for the Bandits. They haven't seemed to got their scoring touch there. The last time they won in Denver was in overtime before the COVID pandemic shutdown with Josh
Yeah.
Byrne in the 2020 shortened season. So if they want to win this game, just play the same way basically you've been playing the last 3 matchups against the Mammoth.
Yeah, you got to go in there, balls a glazing, and basically attack as fast as possible. Get those early leads and maintain the lead by 2 or 3 goals per time because this is a team that always finds a way to come back. Philadelphia almost did that last week. Colorado can do it this week too if the Bandits are up by what they were before with like 3 or 4 goal leads, but they come back and they tie it up. But we have to play smart, all around team effort. The only way you're going to win this game is that you win by using every single person out there on the roster basically to help you win this game. It's an all out team effort.
And we were talking about this before. Like I think it's must win going out of the season if you want a legit shot at winning the championship. But if you
Yeah.
win this game, you're still going to remain in sixth for the time being, depending on what the other teams do, because we don't have the tiebreaker over Halifax, no, nor Georgia, and
Nope.
in front of us, Toronto, San Diego, and Albany already clinched at least a playoff spot. Toronto clinched a home playoff game already, but there are 5 spots remaining. The Bandits got to keep this thing trucking if they really want a legit shot at winning another championship in back-to-back seasons. But
Yep.
Colorado hasn't been playing very well at all this year. The Bandits already took them down once at home in January. But this is a building where the Bandits typically don't play well. And they have a lot of players on that team that know how to take advantage of the Bandits' weaknesses. And we're getting to the point where it has to be crunch time. It's now or never with the Bandits. The
hmm
last 3 remaining games are against teams that are below you in the standings on the outside looking in. So this is your chance to also jump on that opportunity. The narrative used to be the Bandits couldn't beat the Mammoth. Now the narrative is, well, the Bandits can beat the Mammoth occasionally, but they normally never play well in Denver. So why don't we break that stereotype as well?
Yeah, we need to find a way to win on the road there in the ball arena and especially in Colorado. We for some reason, right, like you said, the last time we've actually won a game in Colorado was the overtime before the pandemic. But guys, this has got to be sinking into your brain. This is all your focus right now in this week coming up. Tomorrow going up against Colorado. You have got to figure out a way to get that kickstart you need, maintain that lead, and finish strong, play 60 minutes of lacrosse.
Yep, and I think we have to jump into those key players to watch because there's a lot of players on that Colorado team. No matter what their record says they are, they know how to figure out the Bandits and they exploit them on their weaknesses. If you want
Sure.
to start off with forwards, we can obviously look at number 28
Oh,
from
God.
Salamanca, New York, Zed Williams,
Yep.
who seems to find a scoring touch against a lot of teams in this league, but Buffalo, it seems a little bit more personal with them whenever he scores on the Bandits, just because he's from the Salamanca area. He grew up going to Bandits games, so when he scores, it's a little extra special for him, and it seems like he's a little extra motivated every time they play the Bandits.
Really tough dude to face up against, especially if you have like Justin Martin or somebody smaller on defense against him. You have to have someone matching size wise, like height wise, weight wise. It's like going boxing. It's a toe to toe. one punch after another. Zed is going to exploit any weaknesses that you have. You can feel like you're going to have him on the one side going closing out the middle, but he takes you to the outside and scores on the outside of the goaltender,
Yep.
or he'll break through that wall that you think you have set up, and he'll just be like, okay, I could just dunk a shot real quick in the high slot without no problems. You've got to allow either Zach Belter or Adam Bomberry or someone who's got that grit, that toughness in them to face Zed Williams and to keep him at bay. Because, like I said, anybody like a top scorer like Zed Williams, if you maintain him under 2 goals, that's a win on the defense's book.
That's like
So
we did
you have
last
got
time.
to play smart.
Yeah,
Got to play smart against Zed.
last time we played the Mammoth, I think we held Zed to 2 goals, and that was at
That was
home.
it.
And look what happened. The Bandits came up on another home victory against those guys who they've had a lot of history with, and holding down Zed Williams is definitely definitely a jump start in that right direction. If you want to look on the other side, I mean, we can look a little bit defensively.
Sure.
I mean, you can take your pick, whoever you want to look at. I said look at these two guys, Robert Hope and Warren Jeffrey. Those guys play physical. They are always knocking the ball out, always causing turnovers. They play contain in the defensive zone. Those are tough guys to go up against too. So if you're the Bandits offense, they've seen these guys plenty of times as well. It's not like they've never seen them before and they don't really know what they're going up against. The Bandits have seen these guys a bunch, whether it's the 22 finals, 23 finals, all these regular season matchups over the last few years since the COVID pandemic and the league came back. We've been seeing a lot of the same players. They've kept a lot of the same guys around, but Robert Hope and Warren Jeffrey are those two staple guys on defense.
You want to talk about attacking the loose balls and making sure to really pressure the offense of the opposing team. These are the two that you just named are one of the two best for Colorado's defense. And what we have to do is change things up to make them believe we're still sticking with the same game plan as always. You got to make them keep guessing what you're going to do next, because the only thing is they're going to have to assume they know what you're going to do, but then they got to keep guessing and keep confusing them. But again, when they're on point, they are on lockdown mode. They're like a brick wall. It is so hard to win those battles against these two, especially if our guys are trying to score goals against Dylan Ward. You got to go through these two first in order to get to Ward. And that is tough to do, especially with the history that these two teams have.
And that and goaltending. It seemed like Dylan Ward was lights out against the Bandits just over 365 days ago. Now that script has flipped. The Bandits have been finding his weaknesses. I used to think Dylan Ward didn't have any weaknesses. Then the last 3 or 4 meetings, the Bandits have shown that this guy's human. They can put the ball in the back of the net and put the ball in the back of the net at will. It's just the Bandits, they got to stay out of their own heads, stay out of the penalty box, and use some of the key guys that are bringing some of that momentum, some of the fire from last week. Hopefully some of that momentum bleeds into this week. And we obviously talked about Zed Williams, but look at guys like McLaughlin and McIntyre. Those guys, if you hold Zed Williams down, you also got to look at McLaughlin and some of those other guys, because they definitely have other safety valves on that team. But it's very similar to what safety valves the Bandits have, because I mean, starting off with players to watch for Buffalo, look at the guys with the most momentum going into this game. That's 22 and 92, without a shadow of a doubt. They each had double-digit point nights. Dane Smith with 12. I think Josh Byrne with 10. Dane with
11.
5 goals. Yeah, with 11 points. Dane with 5 goals. And I told you this yesterday on the post game. If Dane Smith is catching fire now,
that's dangerous.
This is when you need to get hot. When you're in that March to May and you're trying to make a push to the playoffs, you're trying to go back to back. The fact that Dane Smith is getting hot at this point, it's better than him getting hot at the start of the year and then fizzling out. This is the perfect time to get hot because you get to carry that into the playoffs. Colorado was ice cold in the first half of the season last year. They got hot at 9-9, went to the finals. The Bandits have that opportunity to do the same exact thing, beat up on these lesser teams, but it starts with those two guys, 22 and 92.
Yeah, the dynamic duo of the Buffalo Bandits this offensive year, the reasons why they are number 1 and number 2 on the scoring list, you've got to keep the ball where they're hot, and especially how Dane Smith just opened up and had a 5-goal night against Philadelphia, and with Josh Burns still continuing to get points, no, without demand, it's like unrealistic how good these two are together, and it's amazing if they have Chris on the same line or Tahoka on the same line or Chase on the same line. They create plays like there is no other tomorrow, and that's the same momentum and the attitude they have to bring into Colorado tomorrow night, and especially to walk away with a victory and to go. I believe that's what, 2 straight victories or 3 straight victories,
Yeah,
or how is it?
it would be 3 and 4
It
out of
would
the
be
last
3.
5. Yep.
That's what they need to bring to the table, especially tomorrow. They got to bring that same momentum and that same drive to surpass Colorado at Ball Arena tomorrow night. So guys, stay tuned if you're watching them on ESPN or basically on the National Lacrosse League Network. Just it's going to be a real good game to watch
Oh
tomorrow.
yeah. Yep. We always know it's cinematic when you see the Bandits play the Mammoth, but the fact that you have Josh Byrne and Dane Smith getting hot last week, coincidentally
Mhm.
before the Colorado game, because you can argue Buffalo, Toronto, they're huge rivals, Buffalo, Rochester, but over the last 3 years, it's been Buffalo, Colorado button heads, and I think this is one of their biggest rivals they've had, and this rivalry goes back to 2006. So for those that don't really know, it's been an on again, off again rivalry, but since
Sure have.
22 when we couldn't beat them on the road and they beat us in the finals, and then we come back in 23 and beat them, and then we beat
Yep.
them earlier in the regular season in 24. This has been a back and forth rivalry. Buffalo, Toronto, let's face it, Buffalo's been beaten up on them. I would say they've probably won 9 out of the last 10 meetings, maybe 8 out of the last 10. That's not really much of a rivalry. It's one-sided. Same thing with
Sure.
Rochester. This one, it's back and forth, and it's must-see TV. It's must-see television. So whenever you see Buffalo, Colorado, tune in your stations because it's a great show. But we mentioned Dane and Josh, and it's great that they're
Yes.
coming back. But Chase Fraser, fresh off the
Oh,
injury report, scores 2 clutch goals against Philadelphia. And someone who I think that we should watch, and he's long overdue for a multi-point night, and that's at least maybe above 5 points. I would say number 2, Chris Kluche. He showed up and shined every time they played the Mammoth in the last 2 years. Expect him to have a big night tomorrow night.
well, we like to see him score at least 2 or 3 each night when he plays. But again, it's all based on the setup and how he can get his shots off. And again, even if one to contribute and really start just being a playmaker as well and letting Dane and Josh do all the work, fine. But again, we'd like to see more of Chris Kluche's little ESPN moments again, like we've had before prior when he had his 2 or 3 goal nights and to contribute to the offense of this team. But again, Chris Kluche's got that Bomberry cannon of a sidearm shot that we would really love to see him just keep on doing. Just
Roger
trust in his instincts
Weiss-esque.
and
Yep.
just snipe the corners like he has been. But again, that's on Chris and the team's strategic ways of trying to beat Colorado this coming night.
Yeah, he's a modern day Roger Weiss. I like what you said. Yeah, Bomberry, Weiss, anyone with a killer sidearm. I think if he
Yeah.
uses that, and he switches hands. He's a righty and a lefty. So when you use that, that's dangerous in box because normally in box you can only shoot with one side. No, most players only shoot with one side, but some of these players coming out of college and coming out of the outdoor leagues, they're starting to bring that into the box lacrosse community. And there's quite a few Bandits that can switch hands, and Chris is one of them. A big storyline going into tomorrow night's game: Paul Dawson against his former
Makes
North.
his return.
Number 6 for the Bandits is going up against his longtime team. He's been passed around the league to a few different teams over the years. He's been in the league for a long time. But Paul Dawson, first game as a Bandit facing against the Colorado Mammoth.
Well, this is what happens when you come back. And you know what? I think he's going to have a breakout defensive game too, especially going up against its former team. He knows the insides and outs of that team. He'll exploit every weakness possible known to man for their offense, and he will shake down Lee, shake down Williams, or even go toe-to-toe with one of the bigger, tougher guys that are out there. And you know what? Maybe that's something that's a little bit on our advantage side, especially defensively, to go into this game. Is that and again, I think Dawson's going to have one of those games where his all eyes are on him about the defense and see what he can do against Zed Williams in the game.
And if you remember the last home game, we were up 7-1, I believe. It took the Mammoth 24 minutes to score their first goal.
Yeah.
It was on some BS 5-on-3 that shouldn't have been a power play to begin with. But
Hmm.
yeah, it took them 24 minutes to score. And then during that time, they were getting very chippy after the play, after the whistle.
Yep.
We know that's what Colorado does. If it's a 30-second shot clock violation, they'll get a quick slash on the hands and run back to the bench. And they don't want to face
Yep.
the music. When you have
That's
number
right.
6 back there, he knows that that's what they do.
Sure.
You can count on the fact that none of that bullshit is going to happen this Friday, because Dawson's going to see that and say, "Hey, don't do that again unless you want to get a whooping." And because
Hmm.
he was on that side before, he knew exactly what they were doing.
Sure.
Whether it's a 30-second shot clock violation or a TV timeout, there's always an extra push or shove or a slash or a punch from behind, and then they're always running back to the bench. They never want to fight. They're always that after the whistle team. We're going to slash you, and if you don't like it, do something about it. I
Right.
love to see Colorado try that with Paul Dawson on the other side.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen because they probably obviously know, if we're going to have to beat the Bandits, we're going to have to beat them the normal way in the
Yep.
scoreboard. Because if we're going up against our old guy, the old guy of Paul Dawson, who knows how to fight, who knows how to defend himself, and believe me when I say this, folks, he will shut them up real quick with his toughness. And I don't think Colorado's ready to see their own window. Like it's like a mirror. It's like, are we doing this to ourselves, like mocking each other? Yeah, because basically it's going to be a slap back in the face.
Yep. I mean, I could definitely see that happening. Like, I can see them try something. I can see it being very physical. I can
Sure.
see the Mammoth trying to bait the Bandits into taking penalties. I can see the Bandits trying to bait Colorado into taking penalties because it worked
Right.
last time. For a long,
Yes,
how
it did.
many? I mean, the Bandits were killing them on the power play last time they played
Yeah,
in the KeyBank Center. I think part of that was because, hey, look, we're beating you on the scoreboard. Do something about it. And
exactly.
it caused it to be a chippy game. Colorado tried to come back there late, but outside of the Philly game, I think the game against Colorado was probably the second most convincing win of the season, and it couldn't come
Mhm.
against a better team because when the Bandits beat the Mammoth, I feel good that whole rest of the week or going into that new week. I feel amazing. It's a different feeling. It's like I don't know. It's like if you're a Chicago Bears fan and they beat the Green Bay Packers that Sunday, and you're going into that Monday with a great mentality. It's that beating that all-time rival always
Mhm.
feels good. And the Bandits, the last three out of the last 4 games, have proven we can hang with these guys. It's about showing up in Denver because I believe firmly if you win tomorrow night at 9 o'clock p.m. at Ball Arena, you will win out. A
Yeah,
win against Colorado on the road, going into a home game against a struggling Calgary team, and then
sure.
going into a basement bottom of the barrel league Las Vegas Desert Dog team, that momentum's going to carry. If you win this game, I will say right now the Bandits will have a playoff spot. Just because
Well,
you can't win this game and not
mhm.
expect them to go into next week fan appreciation night, mind you, and
Yep.
lose that game or something like that. This momentum will carry you over. You need to take care of business this week.
That I feel like they will. I mean, especially going up against a team, like I said, they've always had a struggling times with going to Colorado and trying to get that victory, especially. But the mentality is stick with the game plan, stay out of the box, play like you did 60 minutes of full lacrosse, and you guys should walk away with a victory. It's that simple. You got a new face-off guy now. It's a completely different story. And I got a feeling Connor Farrell's going to have a little tough time this time going up against one of their top guys in the face-off dot. But the attitude is setting its motion. It's right. It's a good feeling that we're on a win streak. It's a good feeling going into Colorado, knowing that you got your top 2 guys as the top leading scorers of the National Lacrosse League. But you got to take care of business one game at a time. Colorado versus Buffalo tomorrow night. You've got to prove it to not only that team, that city, but also to this city of Buffalo.
And one of the keys to win, you got to win every quarter because Colorado, out of all the teams in the National Lacrosse League, you could have an 8-0 lead on these guys in the first quarter, and the game still wouldn't be out of touch. Mammoth
Sure.
they are known for years of hanging around. They'll be losing big in the first half, but they're always hanging around. They seem to always find their way and at least tie the game or make it interesting towards the back end. That was
Mm-hmm.
why in game 3 of the finals last year, I wasn't like hyping myself up too bad or too much until like 6 or 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Um, because I knew that they're a very resilient team and they always find their way back on the tracks. It's so hard to derail them completely. So I know as a pattern this year, there's been I mean, at least in the Riptide game, the Albany games, the Georgia games, the Bandits will beat them in 2 quarters, and then they'll have that random third quarter where they get outscored 7-0 or 6-1. We cannot afford that. You need to win every quarter. I don't care if it's 2-1 every quarter. I don't care if it's 3-2. If you win every quarter, math's gonna math, and you're gonna win that game.
Absolutely. And I still say the magic number is 14. All throughout this entire year, that is the magic number that has been winning you lacrosse games is 14. You get 14 goals, you should have no problems winning the rest of the year. And again, that should be a good goal to set, especially if you make playoffs and go on to play whoever you're playing. 14 is the magic number to do it. And I feel that going into Colorado is going to be the same thing. And we'll go into the score predictions in a little bit, but
Yep.
I got a feeling to say this over and over, and it's like a broken record. 14 is the magic number to win. It would have been that last week, but you guys decided to press the gas a little bit more and get 4 more added to it.
Yep.
Made a statement. Good for you. Make a statement tomorrow night.
That's big. And if you win every quarter, you're gonna win the game. Keep the foot on the gas. I was gonna say play 60 minutes. I think those two go hand in hand, but the biggest one is the penalties. The Bandits did fantastic staying out of the box last week. They took
sure
2
did.
penalties. I thought one of them was a garbage BS call, and the other
Wow.
one was legitimate. But you're gonna deal with stuff like that. You're gonna deal with officials that suck. You're gonna deal with players. They're gonna try to bait you. Colorado and Toronto, I would argue, but we're facing against Colorado this week. Colorado is that team where if things aren't going their way, they're going to slash you behind the play without the ref looking. Things are going to happen. Words are going to be said. Words are going to be exchanged. Punches are probably going to be thrown between the two teams. You're going to get penalty minutes in this game from both sides. I don't care how, or I don't care what anyone says. It's about limiting the penalties. And Buffalo did a fantastic job last week. If they continue that this week, if you believe in momentum and that stat carries over, you can count on a big Bandits win.
Yeah, stay disciplined. That's all you can do. It's basically probably like any coach would tell a youth group. It'd be like, listen, they can talk all they want, but if you beat them on the scoreboard, that's where it hurts the most. And believe me when we say this, is that if the Bandits score 14 and they just let everything go and not falter to any of their egos or try to get them to take stupid penalties, that's going to win you lacrosse games. Stay disciplined. As much as you want to just turn around and slash them back, or
Yep.
you want to turn around and punch them in the mouth, believe me, the only punch they deserve is in the scoreboard. Believe me.
In the
You
back of the
just
net.
scored.
Yep.
In the back of the net. Just break a smile, get under their skin. That's the only way you're going to do it. But other than that, don't take no stupid penalties tomorrow, please.
And last but not least, key to the game, let your secondary guys shine. The last
yeah.
2 matchups
Huge.
against the Mammoth, a 13-4 championship victory. And off the top of my head, I don't remember the score of the home game against the Mammoth, but in both of those games, the secondary guys showed up. You're looking at Nanticoke having big nights. Back in the championship, I mean, we had guys that were healthy, like Spanger, that were scoring goals. Ian McKay was scoring goals. In that championship game, if you remember, yeah, Josh Byrne had a few goals, but it wasn't just the Dan and Josh show. You had some of the middle of the pack guys scoring. Tehoka Nanticoke, Chris Kluche, Chase Fraser picking up the pieces.
Yeah.
If it's just the Dan and Josh show, you're not going to win the game. But if you get your secondary guys in, I think Colorado reminds me a lot of Toronto. They tend to shut down your top stars, but they leave your secondary guys untouched, and those guys do the most damage. So if the secondaries guys are in a rhythm, God bless the Colorado Mammoth. You can attempt a comeback. God bless you. You're not winning that game. I promise you. It's the secondary guys. Nanticoke. Maybe some of the transition guys, McKay. They're gonna do damage to you, and you're not stopping that. Or if they get in a rhythm, 2 words for you: good luck.
Yeah, basically, don't forget about the Robinson boys too, Dylan
Yep.
and Brandon. Those two will definitely be helpful as well on a rush or in transition or setting up the offense. I mean, like Johnny Tavares has been doing all season long, he's been mixing it up. He's been really changing it to make sure to say, hey, if you're going to follow Dane, you're going to have to worry about Robinson. If you're going to follow Byrne, you're going to have to worry about Fraser. If you're going to go against Bucky, you got to worry about Nanico.
Yep.
It is so good to have secondary scoring on this team. Believe me when you said it, and exactly what you said, Trevor, is the secondary is going to be huge this game if they contribute like they did against Philadelphia last week, and I see no problems with winning this game.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Matt Vince, I mean, be locked down. He has been dominant in his last X amount of games against the Mammoth. Why
Yes.
why stop now? Why
Nope.
stop now? We know that he can do it. He's another year older, but I mean, we faced against him 3 months ago, and he looked
Yeah.
fantastic. So
He
why
got his
not?
groove back.
Why not do it again? Why not do it again?
Yeah. Keep him under 10. That would be a blessing in disguise.
Oh, it'd be
Believe me.
great.
That would be huge.
I tell you, there were a lot of saves he should have made last week, but 51 saves against Philly. I want to see what he can do against a really struggling Colorado team on the road. So that'll be huge. Score prediction time, Tony.
Yeah.
I'm going to start off with you because I'm pretty unsure about what my score is going to be right now. So I got to think this over real
Sure.
quick.
Well, between these two teams and going up against Colorado in Ball Arena, uh, like I said, magic number's 14, so I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to say it's going to be a very close trap game, if you want
Yeah,
to call it.
always.
I will say Bandits will win 14
Hmm.
to 12.
Like it. I like it. Don't need to worry about overtime, but I'm going to go the other direction, Tony. The Bandits are going to win this game. There's going to be at least 10 different lead changes. I think
Okay.
it's back and forth, one goal back and forth the whole time. Bandits win this game 15-14 overtime. Dane Smith
Ooh.
in OT.
All right, I'm going to make sure I write that down so we don't forget that if that does happen. So, that that's going to be a nail biter game because believe me, when just losing in overtime to Panther City.
Yep. I think
Um,
last time we won in Colorado though was overtime
yes,
15-14 with Josh Burns, so why not Dane?
yeah, yeah. Why not, Dane? Why not? Let 92 cook. Let him
But yeah,
cook.
let him cook because the fire, the momentum is on his side. You got 14-12, I got 15-14 OT. I don't care how you do it. Just get it done. Just
That's it.
close the chapter on the Mammoth owning the Bandits ever. If you win tonight, the narrative will be squashed. The Mammoth do not own the Bandits in any setting anymore.
That's right.
We will be able to put that to bed. So that'll be huge. You got 14-12. I got 15-14 OT credited to Dane Smith. That'd be huge if that happens. But yeah, Tony, big game coming up tomorrow night. If anyone doesn't just want to sit at home or listen to it on the radio, it's a 9 o'clock game. I know. You can always come out to 290 Slide Sports Bar over in Tonawanda. I know me and my brother are going, and I know that Tony Fela is always there. The Bandits Mafia shows up, so we're gonna be watching there. It's always a great show. Cheap wings, like 75-cent wings, great beers, great selections. 290 Slide is definitely the place to watch, but only if you don't want to watch in the comfort of your own home, or if you're lucky enough to be in Denver and you're going to this game tomorrow night, that'd be huge. But yeah, Tony, it's gonna be a big game.
Yeah, can't deny it, guys. This is the game of the week. Everybody's going to have their eyes on Buffalo, especially to say, hey, if this is going to be our playoff push, we need this win too. Every game matters now. It is down to the final 3 games, and we have to go through Colorado first
Yep.
before proving anything else. But this should be a game to prove to not only to the team, but also to them, to the players, but also to the fans of Buffalo behind them. So prove it to
That's right.
Banditland that you guys deserve, that you want to defend your title the right way. So this is the game to do it.
I don't care if Colorado's undefeated, if they're at 500, or if they haven't won a single game. It's always these games that get the heart rate going. I'm always like, oh, here we go. We're playing Colorado again. Like, ugh. I don't care what the championship outcome was last year or the year before, what we did in the regular season this year or last year. It's a new game this week, so it's going to be big. But yeah, Tony, big game, but I think it's sponsor time.
Let's do it. Guys, we'd like to thank this broadcast brought to you by Mitchell's Tavern, located at 734 Sheridan Drive up in Tonawanda, New York, for the best beef and wick in town. They have great food and amazing service. If you guys haven't gone there yet, mention both myself, Tony LaMonica, and Trevor Hauer over there that we sent you personally to say, go check it out yourselves. And always say, hey, these guys from Banditland Boulevard on our podcast about Buffalo Bandits Lacrosse says we need to come here and check out the food, the service, and just the atmosphere. And believe me when I say this, you will not be disappointed. Also, we'd like to thank those who are watching us live right now on YouTube to like and subscribe to our channel. Also to hit that notification bell every time Banditland Boulevard comes on YouTube for all of your Buffalo Bandits lacrosse needs. And those who listen to everything on phone, tablet, device known to man on Spotify.fm and Anchor, give us that 5-star rating, and always check us out and to talk about your Buffalo Bandits.
Big game. If we win this week, this momentum carries, and I think we win out. That's just, I don't even know if that's even a hot take, because I think the Bandits are still a good team. They have the top 2 point leaders in the league right now, and they're 8-7. Something has to give. Something's got to give. Like that, we can't just be one game over 500 with that type of stat. Something's got to give. A big win in Colorado will prove that to be true.
Sure
Big
will.
win, though. I got 15-14. You got 14-12. Guys, watch the game and support your Buffalo Bandits.
This is it, guys. This is what we were living for. Time to defend what we won last year. And we're not going to make it easy
Against
for other
that same
opponents.
team.
We got to do it tonight.
It's that same damn team too, Tony. That same
Yep.
freaking team in Colorado.
Yep.
And they're not going to go away either. They still got something to play for. They're still mathematically alive. So if
Mathematically, one game and they're done.
For all
Let's just close the book.
Yep. If the Bandits could end the Mammoth playoff hopes and they can close that chapter on their season, all those consecutive years of making the playoffs, wow, that would feel good to be on this side of the rivalry.
Sure would. Let's finish it up, boys.
Let's do it. And then after that, we got Calgary at home for Fan Appreciation Night, then on the road against Las Vegas. 3 winnable games, guys. Just finish the job. Punch your ticket into the playoffs so we can start up that new season, but it starts this week. And
that's right.
From Banditland Boulevard, we thank you guys for watching. We end our podcast with these 3 words, Tony. What are those 3 words?
Here we go. Let's go Bandits.
Let's go.
Let's freaking go.
Take care of business, boys.